Eye contact is the most expressive form of communication, even more so than body language or voice. In fact, eye contact can establish identity and intimidate without saying a word or making any movements. Guess what? There's a certain kind of gaze that can make a girl surrender and feel intrigued when looked at. It's called the conquering gaze. Lucky for you guys, because most of the time this type of gaze is possessed by men and should ideally be a trait of men only. You absolutely need to have this conquering gaze, regardless of whether your face is just average, your body posture isn't that great, or your communication skills are lacking. Even if you show up just riding a bike, this conquering gaze will always make people curious and see you as someone special. So if you want to have this conquering gaze, make sure to watch this video till the end. We've seen many examples on social media where there's a guy with an average physique and face, yet he has a really beautiful girlfriend. And when asked why the girl likes him, the answer is because she can't resist his gaze. And there are many other examples like this. So in this video, I'm going to share with you how to create the conquering gaze or how to awaken it. Listen to me carefully and always remember, the conquering gaze will automatically emerge when you've gone through a lot in life. After you've successfully overcome the toughest challenges in life, the conquering gaze becomes a sign that you're not just an ordinary guy. Or to put it simply, for example, when you're facing a boss or a supervisor or a director in a company, typically the gaze of those bosses intimidates their subordinates, and you'll feel nervous, anxious, and find it hard to express everything that's in your head. In fact, the boss's gaze can make you bow your head, and if possible, you feel like you shouldn't say anything because you're afraid of saying something wrong. Okay, that might be too extreme of an example, and you might think, well, it's understandable, he's the boss. I don't know if you've experienced the same thing, but some of you must have met someone who seems ordinary, but when you talk to them, you suddenly feel timid, like you need to behave in front of them even though you've just met them. The aura and gaze of this person are different when interacting with you. Well, that means they've been through a lot in life, so they have a sharp gaze that indicates they're not someone to be taken lightly. On average, men in their 30s and above who are successful surely have this gaze. It's a gaze that's not intentional or fabricated. That's why this tip is really permanent and great for you. Not some made-up tip, but a tip that's genuinely for creating the conquering gaze. So why does this happen? Because they've been hit by misfortunes and problems so many times, and they were able to overcome them. For example, maybe when struggling, they've experienced hunger. They've been abandoned by their partners when they were down. They might have been in really low positions, cheated out of hundreds of millions, frequently bullied and belittled, and yet they managed to get through it all. So when they feel they've overcome that, their confidence level will increase, and they can calmly face, even speak to people they've just met without bowing, stuttering, or feeling nervous. And this is actually the strong potential of a man. And that's also why a man's charisma peaks in his 30s, because he's been through a lot. You can look up articles that say a man's charisma peaks in his 30s. When he really can maintain his health, a man's peak attractiveness is in his 30s and beyond. While for women, their charisma peaks in their mid-20s. So for those of you still in your 20s, before it's too late, enjoy the process. Don't complain too much, because not everyone is given trials and problems like the ones you're facing now. Yeah, not everyone, only the chosen ones that God deems capable of overcoming them. Be grateful that you're experiencing adversity and your skills can overcome it for the umpteenth time. I always remind you as a brother, don't limit yourself. Don't act like you know your own abilities before you try to explore them. You'll get this conquering gaze when you've been through a lot and faced many problems in life. And women with their intuition can see that. She can even imagine a future with you when you have a strong conquering gaze.
Finally, I have an interesting quote for you. A basketball will bounce higher if it is thrown harder on the ground. Enjoy those throws and bounces to reach higher levels.